Right now at 6, the Janice Lewis George campaign fined just days out from D.C.'s mayoral campaign. We'll break down the violations and how her team and opponents are responding. Candidate Kenyan McDuffie joining us live tonight. Plus, the U.S. appearing to close in on a deal to end the war with Iran. More on where negotiations stand tonight. And World Cup watch parties taking over the DMV, how the district is getting in on the global festivities after Team USA takes its first match against Paraguay. Fox 5 News at 6 starts right now. But first at 6, D.C.'s Democratic mayoral candidate Janice Lewis George facing new scrutiny just days before voters head to the polls. Today, the D.C. Office of Campaign Finance fining Lewis George, her campaign treasurer, and her Fair Elections Committee for multiple alleged campaign finance violations. Our Regina Ureta is live in Northwest D.C. now to break down what we know thus far. Hey, Regina.
Yeah, hey, Shamari, and this is just days before D.C. voters are expected to head to the polls. And now mayoral candidate Janice Lewis George is facing major finance penalties. So what we know so far, it really just comes days before voters are expected to head to the polls. I can tell you that she seems to be the front runner, and that's according to a recent Washington Post Char School poll. But critics are now questioning whether she qualifies to be the next D.C. mayor. Now take a look. This is what we know. The D.C. Office of Campaign Finance hit current Councilmember Lewis George's campaign with $16,000 in fines, alleging the campaign exceeded spending limits, accepted contributions above legal caps, and violated fair election rules. The investigation stems from a complaint filed in April and examined alleged campaign finance violations. An outside group backing Lewis George, it's called Safe and Affordable D.C., was also fined $4,000. The investigation looked into whether the campaign coordinated with labor unions and outside political groups supporting her run for mayor. According to the order, the campaign failed to prove there were adequate protections in place to prevent information sharing between those groups. But Lewis George's campaign is firing back, calling the order a politically motivated attack issued just days before the election. The campaign says the findings are filled with errors and vows to appeal the decision to the D.C. Board of Elections. I want to pull up a recent statement. Lewis George responded saying in part, quote, OCF's order is riddled with factual errors and violates procedural requirements that govern its investigations and other enforcement actions. The campaign will appeal the decision to the D.C. Board of Elections so that this targeted attack is not allowed to stand. Now back out here, George also added that this is just another attempt from Republicans to derail a leading campaign. As that statement mentioned, she plans to file an appeal, and of course, we'll know more in the coming days. Back to you.
Thanks, Regina. Opponents also responding to the campaign violations this evening. Joining us right now to discuss this substantiated scandal, mayoral candidate Kenyan McDuffie. Mr. McDuffie, first of all, thank you for joining us. What is your response to what we learned today?
Well, thank you for having me. What you said is very important, that this is a substantiated investigation. And what it demonstrated was that Janice Lewis George violated multiple campaign finance laws and received one of the largest penalties ever issued by DC's Office of Campaign Finance. To be clear, this is not a technical paperwork error. The investigation determined that Janice Lewis George and her campaign committed 4 separate violations, and therefore she received 4 separate penalties. The investigation also determined that she illegally coordinated with an outside special interest group. In fact, it's the same outside special interest group that has for months pumped more than $1 million into false negative ads against me. So the public deserves to know this. I'm glad that the Office of Campaign Finance finally determined after several weeks of an investigation that Janice Lewis George has done what so many people have said, which is violate campaign finance laws in order to win or get the upper hand in this campaign.
Now, before these findings were released, Lewis George called the allegations basically a political tactic designed to damage her campaign at the finish line. Now, given the timing, as you just mentioned, of this release on 2 days before the primary, My question is, how do you respond to voters who might think this is being weaponized for political gain?
Well, the complaint was filed in April. I really wish that the Office of Campaign Finance would have made their order available sooner so that the public had an opportunity to have all the facts and all the evidence, which demonstrates that Janice Lewis George used district taxpayer funds to fund her illegal campaign activities. And district taxpayers actually fund the Fair Elections public financing program in order to reduce the influence of special interests and increase public trust in government. Unfortunately, with this matter, they have been an abuse of the public's funds and abuse of the public's trust. And so this is the fine is one of the largest that the Office of Campaign Finance has ever issued. It's for multiple violations. And so this is more than just a simple slap on the wrist. It is a serious breach of the public trust and a gross misuse of taxpayer-supported campaign funds.
Mr. McDuffie, your campaign's press release explicitly tied this campaign finance issue to Lewis George's past comments regarding former Councilmember Trayon White. Now, critics might call that an unfair stretch or guilt by association to score late political points. How do you justify linking a local coordination violation to a federal bribery case?
Well, it's not about what I'm linking it to. It's what the public deserves to know, and it's what the public record demonstrates. She decided to campaign with Trayon White to attend his birthday party a few weeks ago, to refer to him publicly at that event as her mentor. And he's pleaded not guilty to charges that he agreed to accept $156,000 in kickbacks. This is about what's just and what the public record says. This is about what voters get to know before they decide who the next mayor of the District of Columbia will be. And so this is about the information that they have in order to make an informed decision about who's best experienced and ready on day one to fight back against Donald Trump, Republicans on Capitol Hill, and to deliver a city that is safer, more affordable, and that spreads more opportunity across the District of Columbia. And I'm best suited to do that. And I think what this investigation demonstrates is that Janice Lewis George has decided to break the law in order to get the upper hand in the campaign. It's just not fair. And ultimately, the voters will determine what they think about these facts.
That's right. Now, your campaign criticized the Office of Campaign Finance for waiting 6 days to release these findings. However, as a city leader, does attacking the timing of an independent, nonpartisan oversight body risk undermining public trust in the election process itself?
No, I mean, I think what the investigation actually determined is that Janice Lewis George and her campaign undermined the public trust. And ultimately, this election is about trust. Voters have to decide whether a candidate whose campaign was found to have violated serious campaign finance laws, who's been closely aligned with outside special interests, and who chose to publicly embrace an indicted public official has demonstrated the judgment necessary to lead Washington, D.C. at a time where we're facing a president who has demonstrated that he doesn't care about the District of Columbia, that he's willing to do anything in his power to infringe on our local autonomy. And what I'm saying is I'm prepared on day one to build the coalitions with regional leaders and, frankly, leaders across the country, Democratic leaders like Senator Angela Alsobrooks, who has endorsed my campaign, like former U.S. Attorney General under President Barack Obama, Eric Holder, who has endorsed my campaign, but build the coalitions necessary to protect D.C.'s home rule and govern our $21 billion budget in a way that D.C. residents can expect, with integrity, with leadership, and to deliver a city that is safer and more affordable for more residents across the District of Columbia.
With the primary just days away, I mean, it's creeping up right on us. Voters are highly focused on the top tier issues like, as you just mentioned, public safety and the city's economy. My question is, how do you ensure this debate over campaign finance doesn't overshadow the core policy platforms you want voters to focus on before they cast their ballots?
That's one of the most disappointing aspects of this turn of events, because D.C. is experiencing one of the most challenging periods in its history. We're faced with a president who has put the National Guard on our streets, a president who has embedded ICE in HSI with our Metropolitan Police Department, and I'm running to fight back against that and to deliver a city that does not allow the Metropolitan Police Department to coordinate with ICE. I'm going to end that policy on day one, and I'm going to deliver a city that is safer, that residents expect when it comes to lowering cost of utilities, when it comes to lowering cost of rents, when it comes to building more affordable housing. Those are the issues that voters care most about, and that's the sort of campaign that I'm running. I'm running on a record of 13 years of delivering results, and I want to bring change as the next mayor of the District of Columbia. And that's real change, but not chaos.
All right, D.C. mayoral candidate Kenyan McDuffie, I want to thank you for taking the time to join me. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, again, now, Lewis George's campaign issued a statement to Fox 5 regarding the $16,000 fine from the Office of Campaign Finance over the alleged reimbursement and spending violations. It says in part, quote, the OCF's order is riddled with factual errors and violates procedural requirements that govern its investigations and other enforcement actions. The campaign will appeal the decision to the D.C. Board of Elections so that this targeted attack is not allowed to stand. You can read her full statement on our website. We invited Councilmember Lewis George to join us tonight, and she was unavailable, but we have extended an invitation for tomorrow. We are absolutely committed to providing her with the same amount of time to share her perspective as candidate McDuffie just did. And your reminder that early voting centers close tomorrow evening. You still have until 7 this evening to cast your early primary ballot. Now, tomorrow voting centers will be open at 8:30 a.m. and again close at 7 p.m. The primary election day is this Tuesday, June 16th.